Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Dear meritorious devotees, today I'm going to bring you a story from Dhammapada, but before that I would like to stress the importance of merit, why we need merit, and what would happen if we don't do merit, acts of merit, what happens to us. So, first of all, let's look at one of the suttas the Buddha has taught us in Anguttara Nikaya. There's a sutta named Chunda Sutta. There was a Brahmin named Chunda. Now Chunda came to see Buddha, and he venerated. He sat down to one side. Usually people come and speak with the Buddha. They start the conversation first, but this time around the Buddha spoke. He asked Chunda what kind of Brahmins that he liked. Then Chunda replied, saying that he liked those Brahmins who practiced austerities, certain austerities, and especially bathe themselves in the river in order to purify their minds. Now the Buddha said it is not possible, that it was not possible for them to purify the mind by bathing. It's not possible to purify our minds by bathing. You know, you can't just go into a river, plunge into the river, and expect our minds to be purified. It is not possible. The reason he showed us the reason why it's not possible and the way to purify the mind. Now, in that sutta, the Chunda Sutta, Buddha said, if someone kills living beings, and if he steals, takes what's not given, and if he have sexual misconduct, if he is a person who lies, if he tell lies, then if he's a person with divisive speech, means that, now he explained in that sutta, he says, now you go and listen to a set of people, and you go there and you listen what they're saying, and you come here and you open it up here, that the talk you heard over there, and you break the relationship that the people who have here, and you take information from here and you go over there and tell to that people over there that people over here were speaking so and so. So you try to break the relationships. So that is divisive speech. And if he speaks harsh words, and if he speaks, if he's with idle chatter, and if he's having a mind full of longing. Here it means when we long for things that do not belong to us, that is wrong, the Buddha said. Imagine there is it's maybe a physical object, or it can be a person even. Now imagine a person has a car, and you wish like this: may that car be mine. Now, if you wish for that car, if you long for that car which doesn't belong to you, the Buddha said that it is not, it is something that defiled the mind. And the other thing that the Buddha taught in that sutta is cursing others. Now, he said that cursing others is not a good thing. It is a bad thing, and it is a sin, in fact. The 10th one is holding a wrong view. Now, this is so important. As disciples of the Buddha, we need to have an understanding of what these 10 points under the wrong view are. First one is that he said, now this is in Pali, he said, the person with the wrong view holds these perspectives. He thinks nati dinna, that means there is no result in giving. Now we know as disciples of the Buddha that there are results in giving. But even though we are disciples of the Buddha, sometimes by associating with ignoble people, people who condemn the teachings of the Buddha, who have no faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, may in fact pass certain hints. If we listen to those words without knowing, we might fall into the snare, the trap. That we might be trapped if we are not mindful enough to understand what they are saying. Now, if our faith is strong, now if we are learned people, that means if we have understood, if we have learned the Dhamma, and if we have a profound, at least a somewhat sound knowledge what the Dhamma is, then we would not fall into those traps of other people. So here the Buddha says the person with the wrong view holds this perspective. That is nati dinna. Nati dinna means there are no results in giving. The second one is that nati yitta. Nati yitta means there are no results in worshipping. Now we know that when we offer something to the Buddha, when we do our venerations, and at times we light lamps and we offer them to the Buddha, we do stupa vandanas, we venerate, we worship stupas. These things give us results. These are merits, so we should keep on doing these things. Nati hutam means there are no results in service. So the person with the wrong view holds this perspective as well. He thinks that there are no results in service. We can be in service to others, so it is an act of merit. We can help others. It has results. The fourth one is nati sukata dukkhatanam kammanam palam vipako. That means he who has the wrong view, this wrong view, he thinks that there are no results in both good actions and bad actions. And fifth one is nati mata. Some people, they think that there is no one called mother, and we should not pay respect to her. We should not look after her. This is a really bad view to hold. There is a mother, someone called mother, not just to identify as the person who gave birth to you, but she is a person who should be respected and taken. We should take care of her because we are all of us as children. We are in debt to our parents. So the fifth one is that the person with the wrong view thinks that he has this wrong view. Nati Pita. He thinks that there is no one called Father. This is again wrong to have this view, because when a person has this view, he doesn't get a need, a want inside his heart to help his father out, and he doesn't respect his father. Maybe he scolds him, condemns him. So this is not good to have this perspective. The seventh one is Natya and Loko. Now, this means that he doesn't believe that there is something called this world. This world, now we are living in this world. This world, in a sense, we are living in the human world. So there is something called this world. Then the other thing is that the person with the wrong view holds this perspective. He thinks nati paro lokum. That means that there is no next birth. But the Buddha said, Gamaniyo Samparayo, we are going into another birth. It can be either a bad destination or a good destination. Now, there are 4 bad destinations. I think we know of these 4 bad destinations. The first one is the hell. And basically there are 4. First one is hell. The second one is the ghost world. It's called the Peta Loka. And the Asura Loka, the third one. And we have the animal realm. All of these worlds are considered or named as bad destinations. The human world, now, and this is important to remember, the human world is considered as a heaven. It is a heaven, and not only the divine worlds, but the human world is considered as a heaven because we experience sensual pleasures here. It is not suffering all the time. We can experience happiness as well. So when as a human being we get a chance to think about ourselves, we can correct ourselves, we can develop our mind and attain. We can attain jhanas, we can attain attainments in the Eightfold Path, and we can attain the arahantship, we can attain nibbana as well as a human being. So the human world is considered as a heaven. And there are 6 divine worlds and many Brahma worlds as well. So these are the heavenly worlds. So if a person holds this view, that means there are no divine worlds. That means he's rejecting paraloka. That means the next birth. He's rejecting the next birth. The ninth perspective or the ninth view is Nati Satta Upapatikana. He doesn't believe that there is something called the spontaneous birth. Now we know the bad destinations, now 3 of them, hell, the ghost world, and the asura world. In this world, beings are born spontaneously. And in divine worlds, beings are born spontaneously as well. Spontaneous birth, according to the karma we are born karmically, we are born in another destination. And if it is in a divine world or a Brahma world, or the three bad destinations I told you a short while ago. When we are born in these worlds, these bad destinations or divine worlds, we are born spontaneously. So this is something that we believe by listening or learning the Buddha's teachings. Otherwise, we wouldn't have known about these things. The 10th thing, the 10th point, is that now the person with the wrong view, he thinks nati loke samana brahmana samma gata samma patipanna imancha lokam parancha lokam sayang abhinya sachikatva pavedanti. Now that means he doesn't believe that recluses and Brahmins going forth and developing their mind by their own wisdom. They don't. Now, the person with the wrong view, he doesn't believe that people can attain certain knowledges that have the capability of seeing other worlds. Now, our Buddha, before becoming a Buddha as a Bodhisattva, a Buddha to be, in the first watch of the night, when he was meditating, he attained a knowledge that is called the Pubbinivāsanussati Jnana, the capability of recollecting past lives. So he could see his own lives, not just one or two lives, but hundreds of thousands of billions and millions and billions of lives that he was in, and not just billions of lives, but eons and eons of lives he saw. And in the second watch of the night, he got a knowledge. It is called the Chutupapata Jnana. By that knowledge, he was able to see beings being born in certain destinations and dying, being born again and again, dying. So he saw from his own wisdom. So he saw it, and he told us that there is something called this world, and there is something called the next world, and Gamaniyo Sampradaya. Gamaniyo Sampradaya means you're moving from this world to the next world. So the person who doesn't believe these 10 points is considered as a person with the wrong view. Now, if we associate with a person like this, what happens is that after some time, gradually, we become, we will have the same perspective. We will have no idea whatsoever what has happened to us, because it is something that by associating we kind of become that person. So it is important to associate with good friends. Good friends here means people with the right view. Now, in contrast, the person with the right view has the opposite perspectives. Now, he thinks atidinna. He thinks certainly there is a result in giving, and he thinks atiyittan, there is a result in worshipping. Atihutang, there are results in service. Atti sukata dukkatanam kammanam palam vipako, there are results in good actions and bad actions. Atti mata, there is a special person called mother, and I should respect her. She gave me birth, and she looked after me. So I'm in a debt to her. So he thinks so, and he thinks of repaying her. Attimata. Attipita means there is someone called father and I should respect her, so he thinks. So now, here there is another important point. Now, reflection is an important thing. We should reflect about ourselves, about our actions, if we are, if we are looking after our parents or not. So reflection is something important here. With the right view, reflection is a practice that we should have. Then the 7th one is Atti Ayan Loko. He thinks that there is something called this world, Atti Paro Loko. There is another world, and he thinks that he's going into another world. We have to take the responsibility of our next life. We can't say no. Now, according to one of our good actions, we were born here in this human world. Now we are experiencing this life as a human being because we did something good. You can't say that it was the final birth we had, but maybe the act of merit that we did to be here, maybe we did it many years ago. Now we are reaping the results, but it was done, maybe it was done way a long time ago. So we do not know. Anyhow, Attiparo Loko means there is a next, there is something called a next world. Atti Satta Opapadaka, and he believes about the spontaneous birth. Then he thinks Atti Loke Samana Brahmana Sammagata Samma Patipanna Emancha Lokam Parancha Lokam Sangambinya Satchigatva Pavedanti. That means he believes that there are recluses and brahmins who develop their minds and attain knowledges that are capable of seeing next worlds, beings born in certain destinations. So this is the right perspective and the wrong perspective. So if we can remember these few points, there are just 10 altogether. So we will become learned disciples of the Buddha. So 4 bad destinations. There is the human world and there are divine worlds out there. The importance of being born in a divine world is that now we see, when we look at the human world, we see that the human qualities are deteriorating. Now, according to the Chakkavati Sihana, the Sutta, it is apparent that the future world is going to be such a nasty place to live in, because people would look at each other in a bad way, in a bad manner. They would kill each other, and the lifespan of human beings will deteriorate and come to a place where a person will live for 10 years or so. During that period, the Buddha said in that sutta, the word wholesome and unwholesome, these words would not be spoken. That means now we are speaking about unwholesome things and wholesome things. Now, if you look at this sutta, even the Chunda Sutta, we are speaking, or we are talking about bad actions and good actions, results of bad actions, results of good actions, the importance of being born in a human world, in a divine world. But these kind of talks would not be there when the lifespan of a human being would be 10 years or so. So it is important to remember this point as well. Now, what is that point? Now, we are going into a world where there would be no talk of Dhamma. So, in that world, we will act at our own will. So he who believes that there is no mother, there is no father, will definitely kill his mother or father. He will commit an anantariya kamma, which will lead him, push him to hell, and he will have to live, suffer in that hell for a complete eon. So that's why we are stressing the importance of being born in a human, a divine world. So these are the 10 points that we ought to remember when it comes to wrong perspective and right perspective. Now, coming back to the story, now I told you earlier on that I'm going to tell you a story that shows us the importance of merit. Now, back in the Buddha's time, there was a lay disciple called Nandiya. Now, what's his name? His name is Nandiya. Now, Nandiya was living in Benares. Their parents were alive, so Nandiya had good parents. They were pious Buddhists. They gave danas to the Buddha and the Sangha. So they were in service to the order of monks. So Nandiya kind of was inherited these good qualities. See, he wanted to, just like his parents practiced almsgivings. He wanted to practice almsgiving. So whenever the bhikkhus were there in his home for their alms round, just as their parents were keen in giving dana, so he too gave dana. So he joined in and he helped his parents to practice that good thing, which is called dana or generosity. Now Nandiya was the only son that they had, and since he had faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, his parents became delighted of him, thinking that they had a good son with good human qualities. So he was a pious Buddhist. He took precepts. He was observing them, and he was giving almsgivings. So his parents liked him a lot. And when the time came up, they decided that it was time to arrange him a marriage. So there was an uncle of his. He had a daughter named, now the daughter's name was Revati. It is said here that she was so beautiful, and so these Nandiya's parents, they wanted to bring this Revati to their home as the wife of their son. So Nandiya's mother went to this boy Nandiya and told this, son, now it's high time you got married. Uh, there is a beautiful lady called Revati, and she's such a nice lady. And um, what do you think? Do you like to get married? His mother asked. So this Nandiya, surprisingly, Nandi says this: Mom, I have heard about her. I have heard about Revati. She has no faith. Uh, uh, she's the one who keeps on playing. Uh, I have heard that she's not protecting precepts even. Uh, I don't like to marry such a woman, and Mom, I think we should not talk about it anymore, he said. So uh, the mother got disappointed, but since she really wanted to see the boy getting married to Revati, she went and had a discussion with Nandiya's father, and they had a plan. The plan is that without telling Nandiya, they visited this this woman's place, and they spoke to her. They said, "Dear Revati, our son has got to know about you. It seems that he doesn't like you. So why don't you do this? Now, we give danas, we give almsgivings to the order of monks. And why don't you come to our house whenever there is an almsgiving round, and do all the prerequisites and services, and why don't you come and help us out, so that when you are doing so, Nandiya will see you, and he will have a mind for you." So Nandiya was kind of now going into a trap, a snare. But now parents, they do, now this Nandiya's mother, she's doing it out of compassion. Now she doesn't know I don't think she had a profound knowledge of Dhamma, but she was here it says that it is apparent that she had faith, but I don't think she had a profound knowledge of Dhamma. So, but she's doing it out of compassion for his son. So Revati, what she did was that she accepted the suggestion, and whenever there was an alms round, she went to Nandiya's place, and she did all the services, and she joined in giving almsgivings. Then when she was doing it, and Nandiya saw her active in almsgivings, and he had a mind for her. Then Nandiya's parents went to Nandiya and asked him about the marriage again. Then he said, okay. So the marriage was done, and Nandiya became a husband. Now what's the wife's name? Revati. Now this couple, they got together and they kept on continuing what their parents did. That means practicing almsgivings. Now, but there was one small thing, but before he got married, Nandiya took a vow. Yes, Nandiya asked. Now Nandiya gave this instruction to his wife, future wife. He said, Revati, there's something that I should tell you first before we get married, and that is, my parents, they've been practicing dana for a long time, and I've been helping them from the beginning till now. So if you are to stay with me as my wife, you will have to help me and my parents. The first thing that you should do is that you should help my parents, and the second thing that is that you should help us when we are practicing generosity. So she said, okay. She accepted, and after that, they got married. Then after some time, their parents died, and Nandiya and Revati, they were all alone, but they kept on practicing dana. Now, in this story, we see Nandiya as the main character, because he's a person who is under the precepts, and he has taken the precepts. He's observing them. He likes the order of monks. He likes the Buddha. He likes his teachings, and he puts them into practice. Now, the Buddha has taught many sermons or suttas about giving, so he knows these things, but he hasn't stopped it over there. He has taken the next step, and he has put it into practice. Now, this was possible for him because his parents were doing it. So he looked up to his parents, and he continued this good act of merit, that is giving dana. Then, one day, the Buddha spoke about the good results of giving. And not just good results of giving, but good results of giving, creating, building a residence and offering it, the results of offering a residence. Nandiya heard this sermon and became delighted, and he wanted to. So what he did was that in Benares, in the Isipatana monastery, he built a huge hall, a building which has 4 separate halls in it, and he completed the furniture as well, and he invited the Buddha and the order of monks. He gave an almsgiving, and he offered that residence in the name of the Buddha and the order of monks. So the moment he gave that dana, that building, the moment he offered that building, for his name, in the divine world of Tavatimsa, there was spontaneously a heavenly mansion appeared spontaneously the moment he offered that dana. So now Nandiya, he's still living in this human world. He doesn't know what happened. But because of his dana, there was a heavenly mansion created or built in heaven for him. So it is said in this story that heavenly mansion is 12 yojanas high. Now, yojana is about 7 miles, roughly about 10 kilometers. So 10 into 12 means 112. Yes, 112 kilometers long and 100 yojanas wide. That means 100 into 10, that is about 1,000 kilometers long. So this is in heaven. And it is said in this story that it's built with 7 kinds of gems. And there were hundreds of angels as well. So now Nandiya doesn't know that there is, because of his act of merit that he did, that there's a heavenly mansion waiting for him. One day, Arahant Moggallana visited that divine world, and he saw. There were regular visits by him. Arhat Moggallana used to visit divine worlds and speak with divine beings. He got to know the stories of these divine beings, the stories behind their birth in heaven when they were in the human world. By acts of merit, as a result of these acts of merit, we are born in the heaven world, the divine worlds. So what Arhat Moggallana did was that he went into these divine worlds, spoke with these divine beings, and got to know their stories, and came back to the human world and shared those stories with the humans, so that they would become heedful in terms of doing merit. So when he was in this divine world, can you remember the name of the divine world? Is Tavatimsa. He saw this huge mansion, and it was so massive and full of angels. Then he visited that place and asked the angels who were there. He says, "Dear divine beings, this new mansion is so beautiful, and it's full of angels. Whose mansion is this?" He asked. And there were a set of divine beings, and they said, "Bhante, there is a person named Nandiya, and he's still in the human world. He offered a residence. He built a residence, and he offered it to the Buddha and the order of monks. And the moment he offered this building, there appeared this big mansion over here. Then all the angels came to where the Arhat Moggallana was and venerated him. And these angels, they told Arhat Moggallana this: "Bhante, we were born here for him, for Nandiya. But still we haven't seen him. And we are not delighted because we want to see him. Bhante, can you please go and ask him to come and tell him that we are waiting for him?" So Arhat Moggallana came back to the human world, and he went to where the Buddha was, and he venerated the Buddha, and he asked him this: "Bhante, is it possible for a human being who is still alive in this human world, by doing acts of merit, uh, to create himself heavenly mansions in the divine world while he is still in the human world, he asked. Then uh, the Buddha says this, Moggallana, didn't you see for yourself? You saw, right? For Nandiya, in a divine world, there is a huge mansion for Nandiya, and you saw it from your own eyes. Now why are you asking me? Then Arhant Moggallana said, yes, Bhante, true that I saw, and it is true that these heavenly mansions can be seen while the owner is still living in the human world, he said. Moggallana, now the Buddha says this, Moggallana, it is something like this. Now, imagine there is a son or a brother a long way from home, and he stays there for a long time and comes back home. Now, when he's coming back home, everyone gets to know of him, identifies him. Everyone identifies him. Then people go and inform their relatives. Now, this is like this. Now, imagine their son or a daughter goes into another country. Now, he or she lives in that country for a long time, maybe for studies or something. Maybe he's doing a job over there. Let's say he was there for 5 years or so. Now he's coming back to his hometown, his home country. Now, when he's back, people see him. Before his relatives see him, people see him. So what these people do is that they go and inform the relatives of that person, saying this, do you know what your son is coming? We saw him, let's say, if it was at the airport. We saw him at the airport. He's on his way home. So, Moggallana, when they see him back home, they become delighted. They welcome him cordially. Now, how do you cordially welcome one of your relatives? You go and hug him, and with lots of hugs and kisses, you welcome. So just like that, this person will be welcomed, the Buddha said. So Moggallana, just like that, if a person does, it can be here. Now here, this is important. Look, the Buddha says, it can be either a man or a woman. It doesn't matter if you are a man or a woman. But if he or she does acts of merit, when he or she leaves this world and is born in another world, he will be accepted by angels and other divine beings. He will be welcomed cordially. So that's why I told you, the Buddha said, you ought to do acts of merit, he said. So now here he says, when we are born in the divine world, And if we had practiced now before, if we had practiced giving, then we receive 10 things. We surpass the other divine beings by 10 things. Ayung Vannang Yasang Kitting. And Ayu means that we will have a longer lifespan over there. Yasam means we will be famous among devas, even in the heaven. Ayung Vannang means we will, if that divine being will be really beautiful. Yasang means famous, and there is another thing, and that is Ayung Vannang Yasang Kitting Saggang Ucha Kulinatam. So he will be full of happiness. He will be a famous person, that divine being, and he will enjoy more sensual pleasures than the other divine beings, and he will be a leader among divine beings. Apart from these, he will see beautiful forms in a sense, pictures like objects, divine celestial objects, and he would hear. That is the sixth one. The seventh one is that he would hear beautiful celestial sounds. The other one is that he would be able to smell more celestial smells, pleasant celestial smells, and would be able to taste pleasant celestial tastes, and would be able to feel pleasant celestial feelings, and would be able to experience all of these things if that person does good or a special thing in this human world, that is, if he practices generosity. Now, generosity is not enough. Now, there is another sutta. Now, can you remember the sutta I told you earlier on? The name of the sutta is Chunda Sutta. In that sutta, the Buddha said, now there was this one special thing that I forgot to tell you about. That is now after the Buddha said about these 10 perspectives, he said that because of these 10 perspectives or 10 wrong views, 4 destinations can be seen. 4 destinations can be seen. 4 destinations can be seen, and because of these good perspectives or good view, the human world and the divine world can be seen. That we have to remember. Then after delivering this discourse, so you can say this story, after the conversation the Buddha had with Arhat Moggallana, he said these 2 verses. Now he said, now this is in Pali, I will translate it for you. He said, Chirapava Simpurisan Durato Sottimagatan Nyatmita Suhajjacha Abhinandanti Agatam. Chirapava Simpuritan Durato Sottimagatan. Now there can be a person who's living in a state a long way from home. Now he comes back home, and when he's coming back home and he is at home, when his relatives see him, Abhinandanti Agatan, they accept his coming, they welcome him cordially. They accept his coming with delight, with hugs and kisses. we accept our relatives when they visit us. Tateva kata punyam pi asma loka parangatam. Punyani patigananti piyanyati vagatan. Just like that, when the person who has done merit, when he's born in another world, a good destination, he will be accepted, he will be welcomed cordially by his own acts of merit, the Buddha said. So, acts of merit help us see heaven. It gives us happiness. It secures us a place in heaven. So, I think we should remember the things that we have discussed here today in this sutta, in this Dhamma sermon. If I may summarize everything that we heard here. First, we learned about the Chunda Sutta, the 10 wrong views and the 10 right views. We learned about the 4 bad destinations. We learned about the human world. We learned that it is a good place to be. It is considered as a heaven. And there are divine worlds as well. And we learned about the story of Upasaka Nandiya, how he got married, and after his marriage, how he continued the good act of merit that his parents were doing, that is practicing generosity, and the way he built a mansion, and the way he offered it to the Buddha and the Sangha. And the moment he offered it there in a divine world, Tavatimsa, there was a heavenly mansion born for him, and with not just one lonely heavenly mansion, but it was full of angels as well, and they were waiting for him. And Arhat Moggallana visited that place and got to know about Nandiya, came back to the human world and spoke to the Buddha, and the Buddha said that Buddha gave us a beautiful, not just one, 2 beautiful verses that consists the importance of merit. So these are the things that we discussed here today. And by the merit that we have gained by listening to this Dhamma, we wish you would attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. And we would like to share the merits with all the devas out there. May they rejoice in the merit done here today. May they realize the 4 noble truths in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And may all the relatives rejoice in this merit done here today. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And may our teacher, Pingat Lokaswami Nanse, rejoice in this merit done here today. May he attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.